back! In this unit, we're going to learn about loops. Loops are a technique that repeats execution of the same piece of code instead of writing this piece of code over and over and over again in our program. Let's get started and learn using an example. Imagine we want to print numbers 1 to 5. Well, there's one easy way to do that, and it is by adding 5 print statements, one of each number. While this does what you want to achieve, if you look at the code, you will see that it's repetitive and inefficient. If we're asked to print the first 100 integers, it will look much worse. Fortunately, in programming, we have the concept of iteration. It essentially means executing the same block of code over and over again, potentially many times. Python provides a few mechanisms to implement iteration. These mechanisms, or programming constructs, are called loops. Loops make our code simple and clean. They also make our code easy to understand. Before we move on, let's first learn about the two different types of iterations. The first one is called indefinite iteration, and the second one is called definite iteration. Let's learn about both of them just a little bit more. In indefinite iterations, we don't specify the number of times the loop should be executed in advance. Rather, the designated block is executed repeatedly as long as some condition is met. The while loop, one that we are going to learn about in this unit, is an example of an indefinite iteration. For definite iterations, we explicitly specify the number of times the loop will be executed at the start of the loop. The for loop is an example of definite iteration. We're going to learn about it in the next unit. Let's get to the topic of this unit, the while loop. We can improve our above example using the while loop, the one in which we wanted to print from numbers 1 to 5. We take a variable called count and assign it the initial value of 1. It's going to act as a counter. In the while loop, we check if that count is less than 6 or not. If it is, our code inside the while loop is executed. We print the count, and then after that, increment the count by 1, and the loop continues. When the value of the count is greater than 6, our while loop condition evaluates to false, and the loop stops. This piece of code is better because it is not only simple and clean, but also printing numbers between any two integers is now possible with just minor changes. Quite similar to the if statement, while loops also take a Boolean expression as input. It executes the code inside it as long as the given condition is true. It stops when the condition is no longer true. That is, it has become false. Let's now understand the structure of the while loop just a little bit better. A while loop has two parts, a header and the body. The header starts with the word while, followed by a Boolean expression that is evaluated in every loop. This Boolean expression is also called the while condition or end condition. The body of the while loop contains indented code statements that are executed till the while condition in the header is true. It's pretty interesting, right? There's one thing we need to take care of while using while loops. We need to ensure that our code includes a way to reach the end condition. If it does not, the loop becomes an infinite loop. That is, a loop that just doesn't stop. As an example, if our end condition is to reach a certain number, we need to increase or decrease that number every time we run the loop in order to reach that number. This helps us avoid infinite loops. Here's a simple while loop. In this while loop, we first check if x is less than 5 or not. If the condition is true, then Python will execute the code in the body of the loop. Print x. Our code contains a statement, x equals x plus 1. This moves the variable closer toward our end condition of x is less than 5. The loop will execute until the condition in the while loop evaluates to false. Once it's false, Python will move on from the loop to the next part of the code. Let's move ahead and learn about the break keyword. It's useful when you want to manually exit the while loop. If you see this example, we use the break keyword to break, that is, exit the while loop. If it wasn't there, the while loop in this example will be an infinite loop. Now, let's learn about another useful keyword, continue. The continue keyword works like the opposite of the break statement. We can use it to skip executing any code below the continue keyword and go back to the top of the loop. We've reached the end of this unit. Don't forget to try out all the examples in your Replit IDE. While loops are a powerful concept, and it is important that you understand them well. In the next unit, we're going to learn about for loops and how to iterate using them.